Hi guys, this is day 2. This is episode 2. Same place I started episode 1, same place I've just started episode 2. So episode 2, episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is episode 2. So in this episode 2 I'm gonna talk about when I got selected. When I got selected, what happened? How did I apply? How did I apply? How did I? What was my status before applying, and what was my status after applying? And what went on? How did I prepare myself? Episode 2 is all about preparing myself, like preparing my papers. So remember, in my episode 1, I narrated my story about applying 2 times and getting selected 2 times. So it's the same thing I'm gonna do. First of all, I will talk about how I got selected and how I prepared myself in DV 2020. Then I will talk about DV 2022, how I got selected and how I prepared myself. Because in this both scenario, it's at first I was single. I applied single. In both scenarios, I applied single, but the only difference is in DV 2020, I got selected and still I was single. I filled in the DS260 single. Yes, I filled in the DS260 single. The only difference in 2022, I filled in DS260 married with a kid. Married with a baby boy. And that is my son, the one I am always with here. So guys, don't blame me for feeling single and not putting my family, because that time I did not have my wife. I was just starting a relationship with my wife. Let me tell you the whole story. So when I got selected in 2019, remember I got selected when I was in Dubai. That time I was in Dubai, and when I was from work and I went to sleep, my brother called me. So when I was from work and had taken rest, my brother called me. So he called me when I was sleeping. I came to know that to find these missed calls, I first found these missed calls when I woke up to go to pee. You know, like when you wake up in the middle of the night going to pee, and you're like, let me check up my phone. Who are the persons like checking on me? Like maybe I find someone on WhatsApp, I can return a message, like send a message back. So when I checked my phone, I found 6 to 8 missed calls. I said, what's going on? What's going on? And it was from the same person, and that's my brother, because it was unusual. This brother of mine, I used to work with him in the same area. We used to stay in LA, and we used to work there. So when I saw that missed calls, I was anxious to know what's going on. So I called him back. And I was like, hi, I found your missed calls. The first message he told me, it hit my heart, and I was like, what's going on? You know, I was surprised that I was selected. I mean, it was something unbelievable. It was like, hey Aaron, do you know that you're here wasting time and you're already an American? I told him, man, I'm not getting you. Why are you saying that? He told me, Aunt just called me from US that your DV lottery went through, was successful. that she has been trying to reach you and your phone was off. I said, yes, I was sleeping when she called. So, man, I was surprised, happy. Do you know when you're in your worst situation and a miracle happens, like somebody calls you, like, man, you're no longer gonna suffer again? Because that time I was so tired of Arabs. I was so tired of Dubai because of working day and night, and even working for penny, because that time we used to get some money, but it could not do much to change our lives. So he told me, my brother told me, man, just come to the mall, find me at the mall, because that's where we could get the facilitation in case we needed to print out anything. He told me, find me at the mall, we're gonna meet at the mall and we talk. So I met him at the mall. We started fidgeting, we started it was our first experience into the diverse visa lottery. Thank you, brother. It was our first experience, but man, we were just trying everything, because my auntie had just told us that you go ahead with the process because you are so late, because the process started in May already, and now it's October and you guys have not done anything in the diverse visa lottery. So you have to hurry up because interviews are already started. That time I'd known little about DV lottery, but from that day I started doing research. Every single day it was a day to check on my email, to check on the information, to check what's going on, what next. So what I did is I looked for information, and I looked for people who had won DV lottery and went to America through DV lottery. So what I did, I reached out to one of my in-laws who had already, that moment he was already in America, and he had the citizenship. So I reached to him and I told him, man, how did you do it? Do you know that I've also got the chance? Man, he too was surprised. He said, you got a chance? Man, congratulations. I can't believe it. So we were happy. It was a happyful day, full of news and full of good news. So when I told him, he told me, man, you got to hurry up. I asked him one thing, should I resign from my work? He told me, man, you don't think about anything, just think about DV lottery. You got to resign and go home and work on your stuff immediately. Because, so guys, how did I resign from work? How did I move from Dubai, Abu Dhabi to Uganda? And which kind of information did I gather around before moving from Dubai to Uganda? First of all, personally, I only believed in attending my interview at the Nairobi consulate. I did not like doing my interviews from UAE because I believe in Nairobi. Because so many people have passed through Nairobi. The ones I knew that moment had gone through Nairobi with the DV lottery. So I had made up my mind to go back to Uganda. First of all, to rest, to work on my papers. So how did I move from UAE? After receiving the good news, how did I move from UAE to Uganda? First of all, I had to resign from work. I called my supervisor that day. I received the good news. I called my supervisor. I told him, give me a day off. I never wanted to tell him what's up, so what was happening. So I asked for a day off. Even the next day I asked for another day off. The moment he was like, man, I'm going to take you to office, you asking too much day offs I was like, man, I'm not coming back. Let me tell you right away, straight, I'm not coming back. That is the day he was shocked, because these supervisors take the job so seriously. They think uh, everyone loves the job so much that we cannot resign from it. So I told him, I'm not coming back. Get somebody else to replace me. So he was like, man, you're joking. I told him, I'm serious. Yeah, the reason why I asked for time off is because I'm trying to figure out something. I might not even come back. So from that day, the next day I went to the office. I resigned. They asked me, if you resign, if you make a immediate resignation, we're gonna chop some money from me. I told them, no worry. No, they said, oh, what's wrong with this guy? Because it was unusual, somebody just waking up and saying, man, I need the immediate resignation. So I put in my immediate resignation, and to cut the story short, after a week I went home. The only people I told about were my family and my immediate best friend, who was also getting something, who was also having his mission to come to US. He had also something which I won't talk about. He also had he had a wife here who was, he had a wife already that got married, that got engaged, so he was also planning to come to US. He also had a mission to come to US, which I will not go into detail. So for me, I was lucky. I got DV lottery, and that time, man, I resigned and I took off from UAE to Uganda. I made sure I get a work experience letter, which I got. I made sure I get all necessary documents. Only document which I did not get is the police letter and the UAE police letter, and this is how I got it. So when I came home, I had to inform my brother to help me get that police letter. And good enough, I had my national ID, they are called Emirates IDs from UAE. He went to the places where he called it, there's a name he used which I have forgotten, but he went there, he presented my Emirates ID, he paid some money online. He paid money online, but he presented my Emirates ID. Then after a day, I received my police letter. To be clear with these police letters, guys, if you have a foreign police letter, it is valid as long as you don't go back to that country. Valid for more than 2 years, as long as you don't go back to that country, and with DV lottery, because I used it even for DV 2022. Remember, guys, those who just came to this episode without going through the first episode, first of all, guys, this is my second episode. In this episode, I'm talking about after selection, what went on after selection. First of all, I was selected 2 times. One time I was in UAE in 2019. Another time it was 2021. It's DV 2022, but in 2021, that's when the selection time came out. So, guys, so right now I'm discussing after selection in 2019 when I was still in Dubai. So I resigned, I went home, and those are the kinds of 2 papers I got. One, the kind of document which I got, that is the work experience from my company. I made sure I get it. Then the police letter, my brother helped me because I had already came back home, so I got it from online via my email. So so after that, when I reached home, I started gathering information and working on my documents. I worked on my birth certificate. I worked on my police letter that is in Uganda. I spent a lot of money. The only document which gave me headache is the birth certificate, because I had to go back where I was born. Remember, I'd taken long time without visiting my place of birth. That is Kamuli. I all my life I grew up from Entebbe. I lived in Entebbe. It was few times when I went back, like for burial, like for family gatherings. That's when I went back home to my place of birth. That was my village. So when it came to looking for the birth certificate, I had to talk to one of my friends who is in the Uber taxi. We drove from Entebbe to Kamuli. We got a Nila copy. We brought it to the headquarters in Kampala, that is Kololo. Then we got the birth certificate. It was hard because I had to put in more money, like to go to wherever in Kamuli to look for that birth certificate. So the other documents, the education certificate, I had it. The only thing I did, I went and satisfied them. And good enough. I had enough time to satisfy. But remember, I used to make research. There is plenty of YouTubers who helped me with the information. I also got much of the information from the YouTuber British Simon. I recommend you guys to check out British Simon. To check out there's one in Kenyan lady, no forward, something like that. There's like 2 Kenyan ladies I used to check out. You know them, those are common ladies. There's one Kenyan lady with kids. I've forgotten the names. And then there is NBM Makurilo, that Tanzanian guy. They used to give me information. And from the American side. And also some British ladies. Yeah, I used to get information about the visa bulletin, about the CESC visa website to check the visa status. I used to get how to apply. I used to get much of information from the online, from the YouTube, like the ones I'm giving you. If it wasn't YouTube, I wouldn't be here doing YouTube. But because each and every day I used to make my research, my mind was on fire. It was like a course I was taking. Like I had to go and make my research. I had sleepless nights, This DV lottery gave me sleepless nights. You know, when you are into something and you wanna change your life, you cannot get sleep. Like if you're a real man, you cannot get sleep. So I had sleepless nights. I had to make research each and every day. And the only problem I got in DV 2020, things went upside down, like upside down. All right, to tell you the whole story, how it ended in DV 2020, COVID came into place. It started like a joke, like Trump was gonna close the boundaries because of COVID. COVID started spreading in December. I saw COVID coming. People were enjoying me. I was at home watching the news. I saw COVID in China. I felt like this thing might become serious. Before the world got to know about COVID, I was one of those people who just had the vision that, man, COVID is coming. I was one of those people. Man, if I had the chance to own the world, I would. But I saw COVID during my New Year when I was watching on internet Dubai fireworks, and man, news came from China like there is a virus, a serious virus which is spreading. I was like, man, God forbid, let it spread but not come to Uganda or all over the world or disturb the world, because I was into a situation when I needed my visa so seriously. So, so when I reached Uganda and I had worked on my papers, I got a friend who added me into a group. She added me into 3 groups. She added me into DV 2020, DV 2020 selectives, and DV 2020 Ugandan group. So there are 3 groups. Through that group, we used to get more information, and those groups, they helped me a lot with research, because we used to talk about a lot of stuff. We used even to argue, because I was into research, man. I used to argue with them about certain information, because it was in 2020 when that declaration of self-sufficient, there's that form which came out in DV 2020, like you have to declare yourself like you're self-sufficient, like you can take care of yourself. That there's a way they call it. It's called a form, like you are not going to depend on the government. Man, that thing was it was a pain in people's ass. It was really pain for us, because there was a new form which was introduced before even COVID. Before COVID came into place, they said we have to get that form, declaration of self-sufficient, something like that, like you can take care of yourself. Like you had to even to get health insurance before even going for your interview. You have to get health insurance in America. You have to get it, because that time Trump was in power and he put in place so many things. First of all, he put in place passport, like you needed to get a passport before applying for DV lottery, and he put in place like that document, like you need to get that document to show that you can sustain yourself when you come to America, like you're not gonna depend on America for anything. Man, DV was complicated. DV 2020 was so complicated. And to add on that, we were hit by COVID. And those who had the visa, they were also banned from entering America. Those who had got a visa, because of COVID, we are banned, like banning the DV lottery, the immigrants. They were banned from getting access to America. So people have their visas, but people had their visas during that year, but their visas expired and they could not use their visas. Those who were lucky to get the visa, because I remember in DV 2020, first of all, it was slow at the beginning. In October to November, it was slow, but few people were getting interviews. So when it started to take off in March, in February and March, that is when COVID came and hit, and there was blockage everywhere. And we began hearing about backlog at the consulates all over the world. Backlog became a problem, man. When you compare the DV now, there's no backlog like the backlog we had, because in the full year we were not interviewed. So to cut the story short, guys, I never went to the embassy. I never even got the interview appointment letter. So my DV 2020, that's how it ended. Remember, I'd gone through the stress of resigning, going from Dubai to Uganda. I used a lot of money. So at the end of the day, I made up my mind, like, DV lottery is a mystery. I hated DV lottery for that. It has turned my life upside down. I never wanted to talk to anyone. Those who got news that I was going to America, when I looked into their faces, I felt like crying. Because once it was a dream to go to America, and now the dream was mystery. That time, the only good thing I got, it was my girlfriend. I got my girlfriend, and she was like, don't worry, you will get another chance. I told her I hate TV and I don't want to apply again. I don't want to participate again in DV lottery because of the pain I received in DV 2020. So guys, how did I come to America through diverse visa lottery? However much my DV 2020 did not go well, God had my back. God had my back, and luckily enough, I was selected on my second attempt. So on my second attempt, it was in DV 2020. The time we applied around DV in 2021. Yeah, we applied in 2020. That year, we applied in that year. I remember I told my wife I will not apply again, but all of a sudden I made up my mind. I said, let me just give it a try. But remember, I'd gathered a lot of information about DV, so I made sure I set up my entry perfectly. I called my mom. She gave me her PO box number. I went to a good photo studio, Langira in Entebbe. That guy Moses took a very perfect passport photo of me. So that same day, actually it was around the first week of October. Yeah, remember, DV is always taking place from around 4th October to 7th of November. So in the first week, I just made up my mind and said, let me just apply. Yeah. So when you check someone and sometimes you say, let me just receive his or her call. When that guy is calling you, like, you check somebody, and now is the time he's calling you back, like he's giving you a chance, like, let's talk through this whole situation, we can make up again. So that's what I did. I just took the chance. Like, it was pain, like taking the chance and saying, man, the chance came and left. Now there's another chance to apply again. So I just went on, took my passport photo, went on, applied. Successfully, I applied. Then forget about everything. Forget about the DV. Just apply and forget about it. But remember, I used to make research because DV 2020 was still in court. When DV 2020 did not go through, like, Trump closed the country and stopped people with visas even to enter the country, DV 2020, there was a chance to participate in a lawsuit. That's how they call it. So it was in court. So I used to follow up on the suits for DV 2020. Until today, nothing has come out of the suits for DV 2020. Nothing until today. It's a mystery. We don't know what happened. We don't know what however much the judge said we're gonna get our visas, until now it's 2023, nothing came out. So man, it was bad luck for DV 2020. If you're DV 2020 and you're there, man, I wish you well. I wish you well. I know the pain you went through. So in 2020, that same year, I applied for DV 2022, and in 2021, results came. It was time to get the results in May. From May 5th, that was the time. I started looking for my confirmation code, but luckily enough, I had sent a video of my confirmation code and a photo of my confirmation code to my auntie in the US. That time I was in Uganda, in Entebbe, Uganda. So I sent after like filling in my DV lottery, I took a photo and video and sent it to my aunt, sent it to my other brothers. So when it came to results, I did not have anything in my phone. I looked for my confirmation code, I did not find. Then I went through the WhatsApp messages I sent to my aunt. I found it there, but there was like a file which I'd sent, but personally I did not have it in my phone. So I asked my aunt, and I sent you something on this particular date, please check it out for me. She told me I will check it later. So afterwards she sent it to me, and I asked her, please check for me if I went through, if I was selected, because that time it was selection time. Time passed and my aunt called me on WhatsApp. I received a call from US, Massachusetts, and that it was my aunt. I said, oh, my aunt is calling me. What's up? Then she told me, man, I don't know what you use. those were her words. I don't know what you use. I don't know which God you're using to pray, but you are selected again. Man, I screamed. I felt like my whole world, which was turned upside down, it was back into normal. From that day, I never doubt my God, because God, if once God gives you something, He will make sure you get it. Because this is like a testimony, guys. It's hard to lose DV lottery and you gain it again, and even your case number is as low as under 10K. When you have a case number which is under 10K, how you feel like you're on the top of the world, because your interview, first of all, is gonna be there. You're gonna get scheduled. Man, it was under 10K, and I was so happy to get selected again. Man, I was so happy. And good enough, I had all my papers. The only thing I did not have is I did not have a marriage certificate. I was single because I applied as single. At this time, I told my girlfriend that at that time I had a baby, because before, like when I was applying, I did not have a baby. I wasn't married, but my wife was pregnant. So, though my girlfriend, that time she wasn't my wife. We are not officially married. So I did not add anyone on my case. Since I did not add anyone, after getting selected, I told myself that I'm gonna add my wife, I'm gonna add my baby boy. And how am I gonna do it? Since my baby was born after the time of applying, he was eligible to be added onto my case. And since I had a real relationship with my wife, and we had even evidence that we had a baby boy, so that relationship was genuine. So I told myself I'm gonna marry her, then take her with me through the diverse visa lottery, because it was allowed by law. So I went on. I told my wife, we start with the traditional marriage. I remember in COVID, people did not have money. Me too, I did not have money. But where did I get the money? I had my studio equipment. I sold all my studio equipments because this was a journey in which we needed to invest. First of all, we are told DV lottery. Some people have false information that DV lottery is free, and it's a free, like everything is paid for. No, you have to pay. You have to pay for everything. You have to pay for the visa. You have to pay for all the whole process. And when you come to America, you're only given a green card. You have to work for your life. You have to work for your ass. You have to work for your people. So when I was selected, and I told myself that I had to take my baby boy and my wife. So I started the process of marriage. What did I do? I started with a tradition marriage. I went to their place. We made the kwanjula, that is the tradition marriage. After the tradition marriage, we went for the official marriage. The tradition marriage took us 1 month to get done with it. Then the official marriage took us another 2 months, like getting the real certificate from the URSB into our hands. Getting it took us 2 months. First of all, why does it take 2 months, the official marriage? Because you have to get 3 weeks of announcement, like they will announce you in church for 3 weeks, or on radios, like you're going to get married. They have to make sure they announce you those 3 weeks. So we had to wait for that 3 weeks to get married. Then after getting married, we had to wait for another time to get the official certificate, because I never wanted to fill in my DS260 before getting all my papers. Remember that time I had information about DV lottery. So guys, I'm winding up my whole episode 2 at this moment. I took you through the selection. After selection, how did I get my papers? What did I do? I applied as single, but at last in DV 2022, I married my wife and I added my kid in the DS260. Guys, I'm ending here. My third episode will start from DS260 to getting the interview, and it will go on. After the interview, what will happen? So I have 5 episodes. I have one which started and I already uploaded it. This is my second one, so wait for more 3 episodes. Guys, I love you so much. Bye bye. It's Aaron Intende, live in Massachusetts. Please subscribe on my channel. Bye bye.